Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Gaming Realms, the Realm of Horror. And this is Dixon, logging on. This episode will also be a summer camp special. Lakeview Cabin Collection. And this is all in one game. The Lakeview Cabin Collection had been released over 4 years ago, and it's a game full of segments that I've been playing time to time, and I still yet to this day haven't completed the whole game. Probably because I didn't put a lot of effort into it. And yes, all these segments are quite challenging, and in somewhat ways unforgiving. The Lakeview Cabin Collection is a 2D side-scroller that uses the Stencil game engine. And Lakeview Cabin was created by one person. It's kind of hard for me to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to put it on the screen. The Lakeview Cabin Collection was announced through Steam Greenlight, then it was released on March 25th, 2015. After the Lakeview Cabin Collection released, they started out kind of like an early access game, where they keep updating the game with more content, like with each story at a time. When you start the Lakeview Cabin Collection game, you start out around or in the theater. And during the beginning, they will be showing only one game, or should I say one film at a time. Well, to their perspective it's a film, to our perspective it's a game. Starting with Lakeview Cabin III. And there were 3 other doors at the time that were under construction, until the remaining 3 filled up the next 3 sequels, which is now filled up today. So there are 4 movies, or games, altogether. Lakeview Cabin 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now here's one question. Where's Lakeview Cabin 1 and 2? Well, I can explain part of it. Lakeview Cabin was originally a free web flash game released a year and a half earlier, in October of 2013. I never did play the first game, but it looked pretty brutal. It's too bad they didn't include the first game in the collection. Well, hopefully it's not too late to do so, because I believe they're still adding DLC to the Lakeview Cabin time to time. I'm not sure if they're completely done yet or not, but at least I have the details on the first Lakeview Cabin game. Now what about Lakeview Cabin 2? Lakeview Cabin 2 is a mystery. It's a sequel that probably got lost in purgatory. I don't think it never exists outside the Lakeview Cabin Collection, but I'm assuming it probably does in the collection. Anything's possible. But anyway, I do have plans on revisiting the game one day. This is a quick review, so I'm going to give you quick details about Lakeview Cabin Collection itself. Now let's get started. A gamepad like an Xbox 360 or Xbox One controller is recommended for this game, since it's a platformer. But whatever works for you. Now in the summer of 2019, all the updates for Lakeview Cabin Collection has most likely been completed since its release. So all the theater areas had been filled up. But then again, there's a possibility around the theater, or in the theater, that there's hidden content. Unfortunately, I can't give any details away on that. When you start the game, it starts around the theater, as I said. You can choose between 4 characters. 2 movie customers start outside the theater, and 2 employees inside the theater. And whatever character you choose, you can roam around the theater with any character. Or you can start one of the 4 Lakeview Cabin films, from 3 to 6. And each one of them is going to be different. And just like the theater, each Lakeview Cabin game will have 4 playable characters. So the theater is just a hub for all 4 segments, or all 4 plus segments. Each one of them will still be a 2D side-scroller, But like I said, each segment's going to be different than the other. So, expect the unexpected. One thing I love about the Lakeview Cabin Collection is that it's a type of game that combines both retro gameplay style and the classic slasher flicks from the 70s and 80s that I so loved when growing up. Now that's what I call a fucking awesome cocktail. Now each game or each movie in the Lakeview Cabin Collection is not self-explanatory. It doesn't give you a pattern on what to do unless if you find some notes or clues. For instance, Lakeview Cabin III. Depending on how you control each of the 4 characters is pretty much up to you. And there will be many alternatives. Sometimes when playing Lakeview Cabin III, it feels like you're in a Friday the 13th movie, where in the daytime you're all having fun, doing something naughty like skinny dipping, throwing stuff at other characters, screwing around in bed, getting high, getting drunk, and eating junk food. But also for the most part, like in the Friday the 13th films, doing any horseplay around the camp usually throws the characters off guard for being unaware of what's really going on or what's going to happen. Like if they hear history or a story about a monster or a murderer in the same area they're currently in, they're always going to think it's some kind of a legend. But they'll find out sooner or later if that legend is true or not. Like at nighttime. The Lakeview Cabin Collection can be really difficult, and you're going to get brutally murdered many times until you master the layout, where the items are, and when or where you plan the trap or use the weapon precisely at the right moment. The Lakeview Cabin Collection relies on trial and error, and it does require patience and strategy to killing the villains and completing the game. But with graphics like this, sometimes it can be hard to see what item is what, or sometimes that item camouflages with another item. And it would be helpful if some of the characters that you're not controlling at the moment have an AI system. Well, it kinda does, but for all it does for the character you're not controlling at the moment, just fidgets in that spot. The music score is 100% accurate for the Lakeview Cabin Collection, and it really does fit in with the atmosphere. The Lakeview Cabin is indeed a horror movie experience in a bit of awesomeness. By all means, it may not be for everyone, and it's not perfect, but every time I play the Lakeview Cabin Collection, I've been having a blast every chance when I get into the game. And for $10 on Steam, if you're a die-hard horror fan or a retro gamer, and don't mind a brutal challenge, I highly recommend the Lakeview Cabin Collection. May as well show you the trailer to give you all an idea on what to expect in the Lakeview Cabin Collection, because this is as far as I go. I do have plans on revisiting the Lakeview Cabin Collection in the future, but in the meantime, I would rather have you experience the fun of getting scared yourself, while getting hacked to death many times until you get the proper strategic plan to kill those motherfuckers. Well, enjoy the trailer, and thank you all very much for watching. This is Dixon of the Ultimate Gaming Realm, logging off.
This weekend, take a vacation to the Lakeview Cabin Collection. Taking some sun as you relax with an woodchipper in Lakeview Cabin III. Be sure to pick up some farm fresh fritters at the local slaughterhouse in Lakeview Cabin IV. And finally experience the sheer madness of Lakeview Cabin V when it comes to your very home. Stop the Lakeview Cabin Killer as he stalks your neighborhood. Is this just a movie, or is this for real? Death, madness, and demonic possession is just the beginning in Lakeview Cabin V. Available October 29th. Make Lakeview Cabin Collection yours for Halloween.